Hey guys, Big Brother 23, the eviction of Kyland episode was epic. It is one for the books, and it is one that I would think it deserves an Emmy award, if nothing else, NAACP Image Award. Not for like what happened at the end, but it was just great TV. Bravo. Down from the beginning, from the start, they started off like setting up the story of Kyland's exit. They set it up well. Like they set up, this whole Big D story, like his process of, how he was wavering. Like, should I take out Kyland or, Azza? I've been carrying Azza, which is total BS. Like, first of all, how can you? He said, I'm not carrying her. I've been backpacking her. I'm like, Big D, you've been laying on the blue couch all summer. She's been laying in the bed. What's the difference? Yeah, you were a pawn, you've been up on a block, but you being on a block didn't save Azza from the block. They just put you on the block because you were the best person to go on the block at that time. And how about Azza always offered, put me on the block, put me on the block. Anyhow, so what we're really here to talk about, yes, okay, first of all, they showed Tiffany entering the jury house. And Tiffany was I guess the best person from the cookout to enter the jury house, because she explained the cookout in a very concise way that they could get it and it was palpable. They can understand it and receive it. She explained it to them and they were all like, oh yeah. But might I add, and I mentioned this in another video, had it been people like Meech, even Memphis, or that girl Erin from season 15 who went in on Candace and flipped the mattress, or even, what's her name, the girl from Jersey who was in that season with Aaron. Had it been any of these people in the house with the cookout, I feel like the narrative would have been slightly different. Like I feel like it would have been different, and they would have had more resistance. So I feel like the casting this season was totally in favor of an alliance like the cookout moving forward, because these people are very shiny, happy people. They're very we are the world. They're very liberal, and they're young. They're from this newer generation that everybody's welcome and everybody gets a prize generation, except for Tiffany. So that being said, Tiffany explains the cookout well, and they're like, and she says, I'm the mastermind, I did the master plan. They're like, oh my god, you would have totally had my vote, you should have won, Tiffany, we love you. Like, Tiffany definitely was out of everybody in the cookout, Tiffany was definitely in favor. Everybody in the jury favored her, maybe with the exception of Sarah Beth and Alyssa, but I think they definitely respect her now more. Anyhow, the piece de resistance, Kyland. On Twitter, #Kyland complains, and I think that hashtag, when he gets out, he's gonna be like, what is that about? And so Kyland, basically, in Kyland complains fashion, Kyland being evicted went into this whole, I thought the whole thing about Kobe raising him to be a man and facing challenges and stuff, and X is like, are you really talking about my nephew right now? I'm like, Kyland really brought up X's nephew, who X said he was basically playing the game for so he could support him, because his brother, Kobe's father, died back in April, I believe. At least that's how it was reflected on X's timeline on Instagram. So you are bringing up this man's nephew, and essentially you're bringing up his dead brother, where it hasn't been that long since his brother has died. So you're like sticking a knife in that wound, in that sadness, in that grief, and you're bringing it up because you were kicked out of a game because you were outsmarted. Like, the narcissism of it all. And I know narcissism is the most overused word of 2021 next to gaslighting. I don't know which one. Narcissism, gaslighting, it doesn't matter. So basically, X is a Taurus. Me being a Taurus, I know. You get 1 shot, you get 2 shot, you might get 3 shot, but you get warning shots. But the more you keep going, the likelihood of an explosion. Good thing that X, being the corporate black man that he is, held his composure. Because he was like, I suggest, warning number 1, I suggest you stop talking about my nephew. Kyland goes on, I think that's not really up to me. Like, what does that mean? You can shut up. That's up to you. If your nephew has no one to look up to, mentioning his father is dead, and mentioning that X is not one to look up to. So, warning number 2, X says, keep talking about my nephew. That's number 2. Kyland keeps going on. Excuse me. I'm just saying, he's not going to anyone to help figure out how to raise him. I mean, that was a weird sentence, but basically what Kyland was trying to say is he don't have anybody to figure out how to raise him to be a man. And Oz was like, Kyland, and then Julie's over PA, Kyland, I need you to leave right now. And X is like, this is warning number 3. Julie is calling you. Kyland is still rambling about the nephew and who's gonna teach him to be a man. It's like, that's not your business. You don't even know the kid. And then warning, walk, X says. X held his composure, but you can see his face twisted enough that had Kyland kept going, he would probably go to blows, but he had restraint in this moment, so bravo to X. Then Bigum's D is like, opens the door, thank you. And so the disrespect that Kyland showed towards X was just is unmatched, because you're gonna bring up this son, this nephew, and the dead brother basically, and you don't know if X is healed from that. I mean, it takes forever. Like the pain of losing a sibling, I can't even imagine that. I don't want to imagine that. You're just like putting just twisting the knife in. So Kyland left with an exit, and then he says to Julie, I hope I can come back. They don't want you back, Kyland. Like, Kyland, you showed your ass, okay? You showed everybody that you were missing a screw. And so, I don't know. But here's the thought I wanted to say. So this is something that I noticed a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you remember when Alyssa wanted to wear Oz's yellow dress, the dress that she had on last night. The yellow Hervé Leger or knockoff of Hervé Leger bodycon dress. Alyssa tried it on, and Ozzy didn't want Alyssa to wear it, and it didn't fit Alyssa, and Ozzy said, I want to wear this on Final 3 night. So Ozzy knew she would be at Final 3 night. I'm just saying. And here's another thing I wanted to bring up. These are all my unpopular observations and opinions. Tiffany did mention that they getting out light skins first. Now that's horrible to say. You know, that's something that should be internal with black people. We shouldn't be. That's like airing out dirty laundry. But she said it, and it's kind of true. I mean, they got out all the non-black people, and Tiffany was first, who's a lighter skinned black person. Then Hannah, a lighter skinned black person. Then Kyland, a lighter skinned black person. Who's left in the house? Brown skin and dark skins. I'm not being a colorist. I'm just stating what she said. She brought color into this. That was bad for optics, but is this a thing? Is this really the plan? So if this is really true, then it would be Ozzy and X at the end. But we all know X said in his exit interview his exit message to Kyland that he had a final 2 with Big D. So I'm assuming he intends to keep that plan. But I think if X was privy to what was going on outside the house, he would bring Ozzy to the final 2, because it doesn't matter. He's gonna beat Ozzy. It doesn't matter if it's Ozzy or Big D. He's gonna beat them both. So I would bring Ozzy, but he's unaware of the narrative that's been said about him online. Like the feminists, the non-black feminists think he's a misogynist. The black women think he's a misogynist and he's a colorist and hates black women, and he's been like stringing Ozzy along or like playing with her heart. So, you know, like just kind of like just messing with her. And so for optics, it would help that you bring Ozzy along the final 2. And spoiler alert, X won the first round of the HOH competition. It must have been some endurance competition that had to do with water, because he had on like a swimsuit. And yeah, so tell me what you think. Like and subscribe and drop into those comments. Do you think X should bring Big D? Because, oh, one more thing. I would like to see Ozzy in the final two, just because she's a woman, black man, black woman together in the final two. But I would also like to hear Big D's final two speech and hear him answer the questions that the jury throws to him, because he's played this big game, he's manipulated, he's lied, he's done all this stuff. So I want you to tell the jury what you've done, because everybody knows you haven't done anything. So now like and subscribe, and I'll be back with another video. Bye.